Oh, well, let me start with the government meetings.
Very well, thank you.
First of all, the first couple of days were preliminaries and getting things together. That was Thursday and Friday were outlines and organization, that kind of thing. And then after that, we'll skip ahead out of that area. On Saturday was the beginning of the first contact meetings with all the different thought processes around the world and with all the people from human colony and other places around the universe. So we that was the first topic on the agenda. So we talked and still are talking about to some extent first contact. That lasted a few days, and then we had to move on to another topic. But it seems to creep back in to the topics as we discuss different things. First of all, let's talk about the first contact. What they had to say about that. They realize this is what one particular leader quoted, and he said, "We realize that there will come a time when we must reach out and take the hand of the galaxy and universe. You must understand that we are not equipped to do that right yet because of how our people think and how our governments are set up. But we are able to tell you that we know that this will happen in the coming years." Now, he did not specify how many years, but he said in the coming years. Another one right after that said this, and I'm paraphrasing to a certain extent. I did quote the first part of that, but then I paraphrased the rest of it. He said, "Our people, I believe, are ready for first contact in some ways." But he said, "Your apparent looks and actions can be frightening. And so we are waiting for a time when people are more calm and at rest and peace, so that they are not so startled by your presence." So another one said something of this nature. He said, "Yes, first contact must happen eventually, but don't pressure us for it. We will make the decision when that time is right." So that is a few ideas of how that portion went. There were a couple, and I will say actually just two, that spoke out purely against it in every way, shape, and form. One was the Chinese government, which said the idea that people from another world could come and make inroads into our society at this point is unthinkable. We are barely able to take care of the responsibilities we have here now, let alone having extra responsibilities with those coming in from the outside. This would cause mass confusion, and he translated homeland security problems. The other one said this, and they were from one of the European nations. I'm not sure exactly which one, is that we are not sure in our hearts that you are here for purely positive purposes. You have not really shown us who you are or what you are going to do when you arrive. We know that there are other agendas that are looming in the background. And so in order for us to agree to have you come to this planet, we would have to know all those agendas beforehand. So there's what the first part, and then there was, of course, the people on our side saying that first contact would be a very positive thing, would be able to help heal your nations in many ways, if that is what you would want from us. We would not interfere or intrude with your government if you did not want us to. We are not here to make changes. We are here only to reach out and be a helping hand if you want that. We're here to take a hold of your hand to bring you into the neighborhood as a friend. Now, of course, there would be changes with that. There would be some changes that you would have to get used to, and ideologies that are not your own and things of that nature. But it certainly wouldn't, we certainly wouldn't want to make it an intrusion. We can go as slow as you like. We could go as quickly as you like. Whatever you think would be best. But all as we are asking is you for your consideration in this matter, so that we can move forward in helping you to become part of what is out here. And your trades will be better. Your medical situations could be better if you wish it to be. There are many things that we could help you with, and you could help us with understanding your people, giving us lessons on your cultures, rituals, and things. We could help you with your climate change. We could help you with many, many different subject matters, but only if you wish us to. We're not here to force ourselves into your politics or into your society in the sense that we're going to be a burden. So, but with that comes all kinds of repudiation, which says that your very presence here will cause this problem, this problem, this problem, and this problem. So they do realize, yes, there's things you have to deal with when you're dealing with us, because it will require change on people's minds and everything. Of course, there will be change, but we're not forcing you to take us in all as a giant group or whatever. It's up to you how you want to do this. We are here to help you facilitate how you want to do it. And we help you facilitate the ways that you think your people would accept us best. Of course, around that, multitudes of discussion, as you can imagine. So all of that, having said all of that, there's even other considerations. There were other considerations that we had that had been voiced before that came up, and one of them was prejudice. They assumed, because of how they feel, there would be a great deal of prejudice if we were to come and become part of society there. There would be prejudice against us. And they have enough problems with prejudice already, and that this would just compound their problems with prejudice and many things. So our looks, the prejudice, they would be some would say there would be professional jealousy, because we'd be able to do things they could not do, or understand things they couldn't understand. So there was a lot of considerations voiced. And the more things that came up, the more discussion there was. But that was the very first part for the first 3 days. And then it moved into, it slowly moved into medical people coming to the, being brought to the stations first for care that they could not get on Earth, with things that could not be cured by mankind, blah, blah, blah. And so that discussion led us back into first contact, because with anybody leaving the planet at all, they would consider that a form of first contact with the aliens. And so it was saying, well, we can't allow that. And there was all different kinds of reasons. One of the reasons was they weren't even sure we would bring them back. The other reason is, how would we explain to the people what happened to these people that were very ill, and how are we going to explain that without also giving them the opportunity to be healed from the same things if we don't have that information, and have to send them up as well? They said this would have to be a secret program, and we said that is not what we had in mind. We are not here to do secret programs. This is something for accountability for your peoples, for your governments. We want everyone to know what is happening. And they said, well, then there would be a great rush for everybody to get healed from everything that was, from a head cold to a bunion to cancer to whatever. So they said, if that would happen, you might as well be living here, because everybody would want to go there to be healed. There would be great pressure put on the governments for this kind of healing. So they absolutely denied that. So it was like that we just can't have it that way. It has to either be a secret program or it cannot happen. So there was a lot of discussion there, and we just told them why it can't be a secret program. It's not, that would be morally incorrect, because you would be deciding, you'd be being a god deciding who is the next to have their illnesses taken care of. We can take care of many, many people at once. But they were like you wouldn't be able to control how many people would want to come. You wouldn't be able to control the situation in any way. They didn't have confidence that it was a viable program at this point. But there was a day and a half discussion on just that. Then it went back to first contact, because then it said, but if first contact was here, then you could bring your things to Earth and work on them there within your confined, that we would give you confined spaces for you to work with the people, and they would have to get in touch with you instead of us. And that might work better. So, and we're saying, yes, but that would demand first contact and demand that everyone knows what's happening. So, and so they went back and forth on that as well. So they said, no, it's more of the same, a secret program only on Earth. So, but it would be like a specialized place where these particular diseases, they would say, well, let's put one disease on the name of the building, and then you can work on just that disease. We can put another name on another building, and you can work on just that disease there. And I'm going, but that's still a secret program. I wasn't the one that says that, but that's still a secret program. They don't know they're being worked on by aliens. So, but they said that's the only way they would do it. And we were going, no, that's not right. That's you don't understand. That puts us in a place of still being a secret. So, and that's not right for us.
Well, it's a common insult between humans to say someone else is not quite right.
Right.
And I'm afraid our governments are not quite right at the moment.
No. We see that the head of your country has many followers, and we worry about what they can do.
What about Biden? Is he more open to first contact?
Yes. Right now, he has a great deal of responsibility trying to put things back into place where they have all gone awry, and your president's going to leave him a mess on purpose. And so it's going to be very difficult for him to bring things back into a normal state of affairs because of the damage your exiting president will do to make it more difficult and more difficult for him to look good.
Well, that's not surprising. Hopefully time will address that problem.
In some ways it will. He will have a negative legacy.
Well, as long as he moves us forward, I don't care so much as to the public opinion.
I mean, Trump will have a negative legacy. Your Biden, I don't know yet.
Oh, I understand. I thought you were talking about Biden already. Yes.
No, he will try to do his best to clean up the mess.
Well, I hope the truth about Trump's administration will be more widely recognized in the future.
Yes.
But in terms of the bigger picture, I'm hoping he's not going to be a large part of it in the future.
Well, he's mentally ill. And he being a mentally ill person, he will try to stay in the public's eyes as much as possible.
Well, I want to focus on the more hopeful topic.
Yeah.
When you mentioned China being very opposed to first contact, I'm wondering if first contact could happen where certain nations don't participate.
It is possible. That was also discussed. We discussed that, but we would prefer, they would prefer all the countries being uniform and unanimous in wanting us to come. But if there are certain areas that we wouldn't be able to go to, I guess that's acceptable but it has to be a large portion of the population that accepts us.
Well, the salesmen have a term, getting a foot in the door.
Yes.
And I'm thinking that given humans' history of having difficulty reaching consensus, getting a foot in the door is better than postponing it for agreement, because that may never come.
That is true. That is very true, my friend.
So, if I have to go to Chile or Peru to meet with you, that would be better than having to wait until a day when you can go to any country on the planet.
Yes, Chile and Argentina actually are the ones most open to us, and Peru in some ways, but it's funny. Chile is the most open.
And on the subject of secrets, it sounds to me like there's going to have to be a compromise of gradual disclosure where everything can't be revealed at once.
Of course not. That is true. And we realize that as well. But the thing is, the governments want to know more about us than the people will want. The people will want to know also, but the governments will have to know before they allow us to come. And if we withhold anything that they feel is vital information, that could be a problem.
Well, on the subject of secret programs, are they willing to do a secret program for the spouses before first contact? Has that come up yet?
That is coming up soon.
But that's on the agenda.
Yes, it is.
I'm hoping for that, at least. There
They
aren't
haven't
that many.
really. It's been touched upon a couple times in First Contact. Not in the medical portion, but in First Contact. And they said, let's keep the marriages out of this portion for now, because that's something completely different that we have to talk about in a completely different way. So it was brought up several times and actually pushed down so that they didn't discuss it yet. But it is on the agenda for future days, I think in two or 3 days.
Fantastic. Well, I look forward to hearing more about that next week from Shania.
Yes. It looks like these meetings are going to go long, very long, probably 2 weeks.
Well, that's good. The willingness of the governments to take more time for dialogue is a positive sign, I think.
Well,
So,
your country has not come yet to the meetings.
that's disappointing.
They have not allowed anyone to come. Your president has not allowed anyone.
Well, he won't have control for much longer. Is it possible that they can have a private meeting with some of the alien representatives after the inauguration?
Yes. I believe that there are a couple that want to come to the meetings, but have not been permitted yet. But he might just say, go ahead and go. But because the chair for the United States, there's at least 8 or 9 chairs there, have all been empty.
Well, that's a great disappointment, but I have been disappointed in my government for some time, so nothing new there.
We would like to see at least 1 or 2 even, but he has not permitted anyone to come.
Well, he doesn't have long to enforce those restrictions. I'm disappointed to hear it, but in the long run, hopefully it won't be a problem.
No, I don't think so. We have an idea of what the United States would say. They have been pretty consistent.
Have any of the Earth governments expressed favor in any particular species that they're eager to have more interaction with?
Yes. The reptilian people that are grandfathered in and are part of your governments want reptilians first. However, there are those that are not reptilian that want to see a more friendly face come first. Not that some reptilians aren't friendly, but that it would seem friendlier if the Yu-Yil would come first. They were in agreement with that for a few years now.
Right. Do you have any personal conclusions based on what you've learned so far?
What I've learned so far is that there's a long way to go still. And that your peoples are very, very hopeful and are very passionate about wanting interactions with governments and with aliens. Your people are very passionate about bringing us to your world because of whatever reasons, medical, friendship, just curiosity, for weddings and whatever. There are many different ideas in your people that make First Contact a passionate time for them, a time that they really are looking forward to. Now, they're looking forward for a friendly interaction from all intergalactic travelers. But What they do not know is that there will be some come to your planet that are not so friendly. This has got to be addressed. And it has been addressed by some of us, but they are hesitant to believe that the governments will let in the negatives. Whereas the governments are probably more apt to leave the negatives in over the positives. By the way we see the way the negatives treat and try to trade with humans, giving them higher quality technology, which could actually destroy them. So their intentions are not good, but humans would want that over some of the other trade agreements that might be made. And so we worry about this portion of the interaction.
Yeah, we're kind of like children who want to eat candy most of the time.
Exactly. And we see what is good for you at this time and actually what is not. And it's not that we're being godlike about that. It's just that we have to train. If we are going to give you a piece of technology that is far beyond your understanding, we have to train on how to make it peaceful, beautiful, and keep people away from tearing it apart and understanding it right away, so that it stays peaceful and thought and in a peaceful way. But you see, that's why we're not offering it, is because we feel that's sort of unfair.
All right. Does that pretty much cover the topic of what we've learned so far, or what you've learned so far?
So far,